But just like the quarterback market, where the experienced guys are getting another opportunity and maybe having success, we'll see if that happens again at the head coaching position, especially in Pittsburgh. What it sounds like is the offense that you've known your entire NFL-ness is starting to become a little bit more significant around the entire NFL. And maybe this West Coast offense that Mike McCarthy is certainly going to bring in is something that you have mastered for a pretty long time. You've obviously had to do a couple different offenses as the game has changed, but this is the one that you were birthed upon in the NFL. So that would mean you would want to be back in it. Right? Is that not okay? Now you would have to make the decision. You would still want to play, right? Which I'm not putting. I want you to know that if you don't want to say anything, we do not give a shit. Now, is there a lot of people that want to hear if you want to play next year or not at this exact moment? Definitely. But you have earned the right at this stage, 21 years in the NFL, first ballot Hall of Famer, Mount Rushmore in this entire thing, to figure out what is right for you. And what you want to do. So you don't feel like we are putting a deadline on you. But have you got to that point where it's like, would be cool to play in Big Mike's system again? Would be cool to be in Big Mike's building again? Would be cool to get a chance to maybe rewrite the ending of our relationship in a place that, although it is not the same, has similar history whenever it comes to NFL story? How much of that convo have you had with yourself at this stage? And what has that been like, reliving what could possibly be next year?
Well, I want to say that anybody on here who's expecting me to make some big decision, just shut up. Just turn it off now. Just leave. You know.
And we would like to say you are good people. Not everything's wrong with you. Tone's leaving right now. Okay, Tone is leaving. The rest of Pittsburgh is on the way out. Okay, you're good people, but just like this is a gigantic decision for a human being's life. And I know football is gigantic, but this is 2 decades plus worth of shit that has to get sorted for how life kind of continues to go. But on that note, you've had to have done some daydreaming about what it would be like to be back with Big Mike, I assume, or am I assuming incorrectly there?
Well, I mean, what are we sitting here? It's March 4th. Free agency starts in a week. I've been spending a lot of time with my wife. We went on a ski trip. Just been laying low. There's a lot of other things going on with the situation in Malibu that have changed some things. But I've talked to Mike. I've talked to Omar. There's been no deadline that's been put in front of me. There's no contract, offer or anything. So there's nothing that I'm, having to debate between. I'm free agent, and again, I'm enjoying my time with my wife and enjoying this part of the off season, and I think there's conversations to be had down the line, but right now I'm not there hasn't been any progressive conversations. I love Mike, and Mike and I have kept in contact over the years. I've had conversations with Omar. I really, I think Omar enjoyed having me there. I think the guys had a positive response to our time together, but again, there hasn't been any deadline set on me. There hasn't been any contract, floated in front of me for me to we're giving you till, March the 8th to make a decision on this contract. There's been nothing to that respect. So in that manner, I'm just, I'm working out because of the reasons I told you first and foremost. And I'm spending time with my better half and, interested in what the conversations will be, but there hasn't been any progression when it comes to that.
Okay, so you're saying it feels like all parties are trying to figure out what is what going forward, not just you, because the team, the Steelers, are in the middle of rebuilding this in McCarthy's vision. Not that they're wanting to do a full rebuild, which is why they hired Coach McCarthy. This isn't a time to do a rebuild. This is a, hey, take where we are and kind of go for it. They have to make decisions. What you're saying is you have not been told that any decision needs to be made from their end, and on your side, you have not put yourself in a mental place to have to make a decision, because that, once again, that is a gigantic decision, obviously, for you to make at this stage of your life. I do appreciate, though, the hell out of this multiple times now where you've mentioned her, your wife and you, this is the reason for your glow whenever I FaceTime you. And have you heard all of the conversations you've had to have about your wife? Because nobody knows. I've never met her, obviously. I've never met her. That was a story yesterday.
New York Post.
When
as if I would have met. Exactly.
When's the last time we actually hung out?
And when would I have time to potentially, no offense, Okay, I would love to hang out with you. But on that note, the times in which people have hangout times isn't necessarily conducive to daily sports show human beings. Mm-hmm. But on that note, it's not just about me. There's other people that have said it as well. There's a lot of conversation and conjecture about your relationship. And I think you, whenever you announced said relationship on this particular program, you talked about how, like, hey, the lady that I am with right now is not signing up for everybody just to tear her down because she is in a relationship with a guy that's good at football. I think you've set the standard for that, but boy, it has been a lot of conversation by everybody about your relationship. Have you heard it? Do you want to talk about that at all? And good for you, by the way. It seems like you have found, it feels like you found your one, brother. It genuinely does. So congratulate. We are very happy for you in that particular sense. You need to know that as well. There's people out there that are very fucking happy for you as well that you're in love.
The obsession is fucking bizarre.
Okay.
That's the only way to put it. The obsession is really bizarre. You guys know, you laughed about this, many times. You showed pictures of it, but we're not living, at the beach anymore. Part of it is I have legitimate stalkers, and I don't say that lightly or flippantly. I've been getting stalked in my house for about a year and a half when I was living there. Not just that, but stalked at the coffee shop I would frequent, the gym at Proactive that I would go to, which was really bizarre. It still is. And then the paparazzi was stalking me for a long time, flying drones over my house. And I've learned has had a bounty on getting a picture of my wife, which I think is very bizarre as well. I understand the attention that comes with somebody who's accomplished what I've accomplished, and so in no way, am I making this a woe is me. But when it comes to your personal safety, and now it's not just me, it's me and her. It's really fucking bizarre. And when we met back in 2017, like, I knew that there was something crazy special about this, and I wanted to be with her. And she would make funny comments like, I would never live in Green Bay, and I don't want to be a player's wife. She's not a public person. And then she moved back across the pond, and I got myself into crazy town, and I was with individuals who called the paparazzi, who leaked, or talked about where I was living, who, coerced me to make, the proverbial, Instagram, social media posts. I never really wanted to live a public life. I mean, if you look at the saga with my family for years, it was one-sided. They were making shots in the media saying bullshit. I never said anything until it got to the point where I'm like, all right, enough is enough. And I don't, honestly, I'm not, if you look at my Instagram, I think I posted one time, and it was a post about the ATVs. I got the boys. I don't post on X. Like, I'm not a social media guy anymore. So I only know about this stuff because of my sweet sister, Mia, who actually has a message I'm going to read at some point.
Okay, all right. So I've learned this, Mia. I've only learned of you over the last couple of days. Sounds like you are a dog, and I would like to let you know I appreciate what you've done. Look how happy he is. Look how you like you feel fully empowered, feel like fully supported. It seems like is how you are describing your relationship. And I think whenever you come out and speak about this for her, feels like you're trying to support her as well, saying, "Hey, like."
She didn't sign up for this bullshit. She signed up because she loves me and she supports me and she wants to spend the rest of our lives together and start a family together. She didn't sign up to be out front, social media wag. Like, she doesn't want any of that bullshit, and I don't either, and I was with that. And which is like even more telling, like, do you understand? I was with it. I lived that life. I didn't like it. I dealt with it. I didn't like it. Now I'm out of it. I don't want to be back in it. I don't want to be a part of that. I understand, when I play, if I play, that there's scrutiny, there's attention that comes with it. But I'm fully content on living a private life. But you have people out there that say shit about me and create these narratives and talk about my wife and talk about this and that and search for our wedding certificate and all this different bullshit. Like, we're not living a public life. We're not going to now, not in the future, not ever. When this is done, it's Kaiser Sose, and you won't see me. You won't see me. I'm not doing TV.
Kaiser Sose? I don't think I know what that. Context clues tells me it means disappear.
Usual suspects.
Yeah,
usual suspects. Yeah. I'm not going to be out
Kevin
and about.
Spacey.
Wow. Yeah. This whole nother conversation.
Is that what you did? Okay.
That's AJ's guy.
Yeah, getting back to it. Well, I said Pittsburgh or bust earlier. Is that a situation that you wanted to address? You're a very open-minded person, so I assumed you'd be open to play anywhere. But I don't know with your ties to Pittsburgh and obviously Big Mike. It all seems to make sense to me.
That's a good question.
What makes sense?
You going back to Pittsburgh, playing for Big Mike. I think Campy is there. Mark Lovat is there. There's a lot of great Green Bay people back in town.
Thorne.
Grant Thorne, amazing. There's some amazing characters. Yes.
There's some great characters. I mean, like, listen, I'd be lying if I didn't say that was something that I enjoyed seeing, like all those guys getting back together. And, it's some of the guys that had the greatest impact on my career. You're talking about James Campen, who used to take me out when I was a rookie on the road because I didn't know where to go, what to do. And there wasn't a lot of rookies back then. There's less rookies making the team than there are now. And Campy would take me out to dinner on the road a lot. And he always says that I took him out one time to a Mexican spot that cost, $10 a person. And he used to take me to, $50, $60 a person dinners. But James was an influential person in my life as a young player, especially. I love Coach Campen a ton. Obviously, Mike, I've talked about him a bunch. Mark Lovat, it was Barry Rubin, and who I love. Barry Rubin, one of the all-time greats in the league, strength coach. And Mark Lovat was his assistant back then. And I watched Bloke, go from assistant to then Dave Redding came in. Redman, just what a fucking legend. You remember Redman, AJ? What a great guy. And then Mark took over and had a lot of fun and success with him. He's one of the great human beings in the business that I've been able to be across. And Grant, watch him come in from, a young guy trying to sort it out. We gave him a ton of shit, all the time. But, with him and Thaddeus Jackson, just some great guys I was able to be a part with. So obviously that would be a draw if I decided we'd go down that path. But again, it takes two to tango, and we'll see what happens as we get into free agency and everything. But obviously I have so much love for all those guys I mentioned. And Tom Arth. Tom was there in the offseason, my first offseason. So to be able to play for him last year was really special. And Jari Evans was a teammate of mine. He's assistant offensive line coach now. Jari's an awesome guy. Like, you just felt so secure with him at guard. Like, okay, this guy is an absolute mauler, and he's going to take care of his guy every play. So, yeah, I mean, I love the staff that he's. Pat Graham was there for a year with us as well, I was teasing, I can't remember who I was talking to. Like, Pat Graham was a little puffier back then. Like, Pat looks like he's kind of shredded now.
Oh, is that big?
He looks like he's in shape. Like, he was a little puffier back then. So it's, and Scott McCurley, who was with us for a long time, is still a linebacker coach. So obviously I know a lot of that staff and have a lot of love for those guys. And I think Mike's done a really good job of putting that together. Even his chief of staff, Scar, was with us in the Jets. An awesome guy. So I think he's done a good job putting that whole thing together.
I think some Steelers fans aren't going to be thrilled that somebody from the Jets is in there. But on that note, sounds like a great guy.
He's not a lifer Jet. So
okay.